We are joined by Martin Mackay, Pfizer's Pharma Therapeutics Research and Development President, and he joins us from Singapore. Martin, thank you for making time for us on your morning in Singapore. Let's talk about what your CEO, Jeffrey Kindler, had to say, or Kindler had to say, some interesting words. But, you know, if you look at the blockbuster drugs that Pfizer has come up with in the recent years, such as Lipitor, also we have the other one, Emails as well, and Prevna, it's all through acquisition. So what about R&D these days?
Well, thank you, Susan. Obviously, Jeff has laid out our challenges very well, and there's no getting away from the fact that we haven't been productive enough in R&D. By the same token, this is a really positive thing. I believe we're in the golden age of drug discovery. And if you now look at our phase 3 pipeline, so those are the late stage products that are going to come through to the marketplace in the next 2 to 3 years, we have a very replete pipeline in key areas such as cancer, Alzheimer's disease, pain and inflammation, and as alluded to earlier, infectious diseases.
Okay, well, let me talk to you about Lipitor right now, Martin, because that is the big concern, because Lipitor's patent obviously expires in the year 2011. So what is Pfizer working on besides those drugs that you mentioned? But what about blockbusters coming down the pipeline? Do you see any turning out?
Surely, and of course you're right about Lipitor. It's a terrific product, and we will continue to market Lipitor through our established products business unit. But the thing is, you always know when something's going to come off patent. And the key thing is what you bring along behind that to replace those revenues so that we can reinvest back in R&D. Let me give you a couple of examples. We have a small molecule compound called tazocitinib for rheumatoid arthritis, which is looking very good in phase 2 trials and has now moved into phase 3. Similarly, we have a number of products for cancer treatments, which again, I think have terrific potential for patients and for revenues.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, Martin, because some have argued that, you know, these blockbuster drugs such as Lipitor, ones that make up billions of dollars in sales. In fact, I think Lipitor made up $11 billion of Pfizer's sales just last year. This era is pretty much done. What do you think?
No, I don't think it's done. I think that's been overplayed. I think what you'll see is a more mixed portfolio with medicines that do have blockbuster potential. So can you imagine coming out with something now in Alzheimer's disease? That has terrific revenues potential as well as being a great treatment for patients. But I think what you will also see is a mix of medicines, and some of those medicines will be much more treating single or smaller patient populations, and they will have less revenue potential, but nevertheless will be excellent for patients. And we have a number of those in the portfolio also.
Martin, Paul Gordon here. On the expiry patents, as you know when they're going to expire. In many cases, drug companies have also challenged and tried to get extensions on those. I mean, you got Viagra expiring in 2012, you got Detrol in 2012, you got Geodon in 2012. Are you going to be able to get any of these extended, or are you planning for these ones to all die at the same time?
Well, I think more importantly than extensions, what we look to do is keep the revenue streams from these excellent products. And we have a business unit called Established Products Business Unit, which really look to harness the quality that Pfizer delivers and still market those compounds as Pfizer compounds. Now, clearly, when they come off patent, the revenues take a hit. But similarly, because of the quality piece and because of how we market them globally, we will see less of an effect on the patent expiration. Again, though, key to keeping up our revenue stream is what we bring out of R&D. And as I say, the key programs that we're working in cancer and diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, these are going to be the medicines of the future for Pfizer.
Do you think you're going to get back to those glory days, if you like, of the 1990s of double-digit returns on assets and high returns on equity?
I think that's going to be difficult. Having lived through various decades in the pharmaceutical industry, going back to the 70s, I'm never really happy with the great times, and I'm never really sad with the bad times. Try to have a much more level view of them. To contemplate double-digit growth, though, is going to be difficult over the next period. Nevertheless, the strategy at Pfizer is to be a very solid growing company, albeit with single-digit growth, and be a diversified company which not only has pharmaceuticals and new pharmaceuticals coming out of R&D, but nutritionals, consumer products, animal health products, and the like. So we're a more diversified company than we were, say, in the late 90s.
Yeah, so a single-digit growth then, Martin, and that comes with cost cuts as well, because recently, after this Wyeth acquisition, we have Pfizer closing down 6 labs, also laying off individuals. I guess people are looking ahead after this merger. Do you see any more job cuts coming down the pipeline?
Well, it's always difficult to predict, but we will continually look at our cost base. There's no question. I must say, going to the Wyeth acquisition, this has been a terrific success, both in terms of the strategies that we were aiming for when we acquired Wyeth, i.e. to growing biotherapeutics and in vaccines, and also to diversify the business. The key thing about the integration is how quickly we moved through it, and we were able to stabilize the organization and have everybody back working on those things that mean most to us. And just as one little piece of information, we announced those site closures a mere 23 days after we closed the deal. And within a very short space of time after that, we announced the portfolio that we would be working on. So I must say, from my perspective, R&D has moved through this, as has the rest of the business, very quickly.
Okay, well, your CEO says that, okay, despite your budget, the R&D budget being cut to $8.5 billion, shame on you if you can't come up with a new product that might be a winner for the company, because $8.5 billion is still a lot of money.
Absolutely correct. There's no question that we have a magnificent budget, and whilst we have taken cuts because of the Wyeth integration, that was entirely appropriate. It is shame on us as a head of R&D with a budget of that size, with the great talent that we have in Asia, in the rest of the world, and the portfolio we have. If we're not able to bring forward the next generation of great medicines, I agree with Jeff. I'm also confident we will be able to do that.
All right, Martin, stay safe in Singapore. There are aftershocks in the city today from that Indonesia earthquake. That's Martin Mackay, Pfizer's Pharma Therapeutics Research and Development President.